Hello, guys. I think this is probably who's going to come on today.
Hey,
Hello.
How's your week been?
it's going steady.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. Where are you guys on the quests?
For me, it's quest 5 at the moment. Just
Sweet.
yeah, each step got a. This was a really confusing one for a bit.
Step
But,
5.
yeah, I've been taking some time to research and then apply some of the knowledge into my build.
Yeah. Have you looked at the previous Reddit posts on display trees? I think I made a couple of posts. I'm pretty sure some others made as well. Just if you're looking for some stuff that we already talked about.
Yeah, I'll make sure to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
What about you? What quest are you on?
Uh, the mouse I've been working at it's pretty hard. Yeah, there's currently a problem. Not stuck on, but kind of don't want to approach yet because I know it's gonna take a while, like the flow problem, which is one of the final problems on the mouse. So yeah.
I see.
Yeah, I'm also on plus 5. Um, the remove algorithm, I think we were talking about that in the Reddit, but yeah, that one's been pretty tough to implement.
Yeah,
So
there's a lot of like steps you have to take.
yeah,
I don't know if you guys have your splay working, the remove shouldn't be too hard. You guys past that or still working on it?
yeah, I think it's more of like the conceptual part of it.
Fair.
Like it's hard for me to imagine like bringing up like I know his diagrams are like his diagrams are really good, but it's just hard for me to imagine like bringing up like a root node or like something like that. It's just I don't know.
It's a lot harder to talk in words compared to the visual elements.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you guys do want to talk about that, like, feel free, but I don't want to go over something if you guys already feel comfortable with it.
I'm workshopping like a few ideas so far of how it could function, so that's what I'm going to be focusing on. But if I really get confused, I'll make sure to call for help if needed.
Nathan, I heard you're done. What do you do afterwards?
I've been just looking over the modules. I should really ask the professor what we should do after.
Sweet. Yeah, also, do you guys know what's on the final?
I think Anand answered that.
Oh yeah,
he
he
said,
did.
Sounds like it was like everything, right? Just probably less than the first half.
And I don't know if you guys got to look at it, but like the rest of FlowCEF's modules are pretty hard. Like, yeah, it gets pretty hard algorithms, and like there's a bunch of algorithms that we like don't go over in the quests. Yeah. So I'm guessing we just need to know like a bunch of sorting and a bunch of stuff about graphs and maps. So yeah, yikes.
Do you know what quest, I guess I'm sure Nathan knows, but quest 8 and 9, what are they on? What topics are they covering?
Quest 8, it was heap sort, and then quest 9, it was just graphs and Dijkstra's algorithm and max flow. Yeah.
Okay.
It was just, I felt like quest 8 was much easier than like quest 7 though.
Mhm.
Good to know.
Yeah, Quest 8 was relatively fast, but Quest 9, I'm pretty sure is supposed to be 50 points. So that's like
Yeah.
2 quests.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Quest 7, is there anything that held you guys up? That you
Oh
think, like,
yeah.
that wasn't,
Quest 7,
like, yeah, I guess not to give it away, but like anything that you don't think was being tested but still held you up.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Yeah, good to see you. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but you know, I just wanted to say something. Hi, hey, Kim Woo, right?
Hey,
As
Nan.
you, hey, Jaden, yeah, all of you guys actually. So anyway, so here's what I wanted to say, and I thought this was the best way to place to say it. Okay, so I know a bunch of you have finished Quest 9. Some of you are finished Quest 9 anyway, and quite a few of you are close. I think Yam is, you know, 1 mini quest away or something like that, I think,
Mhm.
right? Yeah, okay. And I think Kevin also, this is many of you, right? So coming up there. So, and chances are you may finish it before week 12 and then have nothing to do after that. So if you're interested, there's an extra credit project for those who have completed Quest 9. Before week 11, let's say, right? Obviously, if you've already done it now, that's great. And obviously, when Yam finishes, he can also join the effort and things like that. So the thing that I had in mind was you got to go to Reddit and look for 2 of our past students. Their names were Walter Bergstrom. Okay, Walter Bergstrom, and I think he was. I actually forget. Maybe last year. Okay, Walter Bergstrom, and the other guy is Riley Short. Riley Short. Okay, the 2 of them tried to do a tech report paper. It was very interesting, and I said, this is great. If you do it, you can actually put it out there on GitHub and link to it on Stack Overflow. It could spark some interesting conversations. It's about splay trees and AVL trees and probability distributions of data that the effect of the probability distribution of the incoming data on the average lookup time, amortized, meaning you do 1 million calls and then average over, right? So anyway, so the hypothesis that we started out with, what they started out with, was that if you have a uniform distribution, then AVL is obviously better. Yeah, so it's log n, and whereas if you hang on, yeah, all right. So, but if you splay, if you don't have a uniform distribution, right? If you don't have a uniform distribution and it's peaked like this, then a splay should start getting better and better, and eventually get even better than an AVL, right? Because as the distribution gets more and more peaked, a small subset of values is going to get looked up far more than the leaves. So it goes back to Yam's grandma videos are right at the leaves, and they don't contribute to the complexity of the algorithm at all. And so if you have a small subset of frequently looked up items, then the bet was splay should outperform at some point. So we start off with AVL outperforming splay, yeah, because with the uniform. And then as the distribution gets peaked, and essentially to do a plot of choose a standard deviation. I think they picked a Gaussian distribution so that you can have a standard deviation that you can change. So if you have an infinite standard deviation or a large standard deviation, it approximates a uniform distribution. Yes, but if you have hang on. Yeah. So if you have a very small standard deviation, right? Very small standard deviation approaching 0, then as sigma tends to 0, then your distribution is pretty much like a step waveform, because our impulse essentially, right? Because one value is at the root, and that's the only one that's ever going to be looked up. And so a splay tree gives O of 1 there. So we have established the two corners of distribution, right, of our experiment. One is for an impulse, a splay has got to be better, provably, because theoretically you can prove that there's only one element, it's at the root, right? And whereas if it's uniform, then you would expect the AVL to be better on average. So the idea was to find the sweet spot when there's a crossover, when splay is actually better. So and they thought, we'll produce a report, and then maybe you can share it on Stack Overflow, saying here are the real experimental benefits of splay versus AVL, and when you should consider choosing splay. Maybe an application has been built at Google or Microsoft or what, any place that uses a balance tree in the background, but without having insight into the statistical nature of the incoming data. So maybe the incoming data that needs to be stored has a modal distribution, and the mode is it's a peaked mode. So you can say, well, you know what, that the standard deviation has crossed the threshold when splay is actually more useful. So in fact, you can even make that decision by sampling the incoming data periodically. You can make a dynamic decision to route between two different kinds of storage, which kind of mirror each other in the backend, overnight or something like that. But you can make a dynamic decision saying, well, the pattern of the incoming data is peak during the day, so you'll go to a splay. But at night, it's more like uniform, so it'll go somewhere else or something like that. You can make these dynamic decisions, but that's all beyond the scope of what they were trying to do. But the idea was that they would produce a nice report. However, okay, here's the clincher. Okay, what they discovered ran counter to intuition, meaning they discovered the opposite effect. Okay, and it wasn't possible to explain that before the term ended. So I think the paper got shelved, but they will be super duper happy to hand over to you guys. Okay, so if a couple of you or a bunch of you are interested in working on this deeply, just to figure out. That's why Kevin Ye, he made some very relevant posts and interesting posts that I think he would also be a value add if you got him involved in the effort. Well, of course, he's got to finish Quest 9 first, but he's also, I think, close. So if you guys can produce a kick-ass report, okay, share it on GitHub, Stack Overflow, that'll be killer, data point on your profile, really. So even if it's consistent with expectations, I think I haven't seen an experiment out there on Stack Overflow or something that says, here it is. We ran the experiment. Here is the data. If we haven't seen it, it'll be useful. But if you find something that's counterintuitive and try to explain it, that's even better, because a lot of people will be interested and be looking at it. So I just thought I'll throw it out there, and I thought it'll be better if I rather than create an announcement or a post, it's a pain, and nobody reads these announcements, I think. But so you guys can actually now think about it if you've completed and you're sitting there twiddling your thumbs. Okay, so now there you got something to do, and obviously worth extra credit. Okay, so and it doesn't matter. Not everybody has to participate at the same level. In the end, the extra credit can be given to everybody at different levels, obviously, right? So any participation, productive participation, right? Productive and considered participation, I think, will be welcomed by the team. I'm not the team captain or anything, okay? So I don't have the say of it. And maybe there's going to be multiple groups working on it too. That's fine, okay? Each with their own leads. That's also fine. But I think the first point of contact might be one of those two guys, okay? Just reach out to them. They have a Google Doc with an initial version of the tech report. Okay, they actually laid out like a research paper, so you can actually read that. This is very simple, as 2 or 3 pages, and then some preliminary experimental results that didn't go their way, so they kind of had to abandon the project. But you can pick it up, because you got time now, and you can turn this, and you can obviously, I don't know what they're doing now. Maybe they're in college and doing heavy courses, but if they're interested, you can rope them in. But otherwise, it'll be worthwhile as your own report too, right? I just want to throw in that's all, right? I don't have anything to say. If you guys have any questions for me, I'm happy to answer. I'm glad to see the progress. All of you are making progress. You got to and spending time on each quest and understanding the details of the data structure, really key, because that is what really is the juice of the matter. Okay, it's just getting through, no fun at all, but understanding each one, that is really awesome, right? So I think you're all getting there. So you got to experiment. You got to experiment endlessly and find out why this works and why it doesn't work. That should work. It doesn't work. But this shouldn't work, but it works. Okay. So those are the interesting things in the class. Not just, you know, all right, it works. It works. It works. Not interesting at all. So trying to find out why it doesn't work and trying to find out why it doesn't work. Right, saying, well, you know what, so that is all fun. Okay, so you have a lot of time for that. So I just wanted to say that, and also I'm going to tell my students, so you know, don't make posts on Reddit. You know, you can make any post you want on Reddit, okay, but I think a couple of students, you know, in the last few quarters, people have been saying, you know, you got to start questing like 2 weeks early before the quarter starts and things like that. Okay, I don't think it applies to everyone. Okay, maybe it applies to people that have done some other easier 2A and 2B and coming into 2C. Yeah, okay, they've got to do the basic quests first, right? But you know, most people who are already solid on the 2A and 2B material, they don't have to start early. So I don't want to send the wrong message. And like you guys, they might be finished. And then the rest of the quarter they won't have anything interesting to do, right? And programming is something that you got to keep on. You know, you can't say, well, I'm done with 2C, I'm going to now focus on, you know, my pre-calculus or vector calculus and, you know, forget about this for the next 6 weeks. Okay, that is not going to work. You got to keep doing this every day, and the only way you can do that is actually have something to do. So don't run out of quests before time. But at the same time, you shouldn't, you know, run out of time before. So it's a delicate balance. You got to do it. But if you've already finished it, so here's something you can do. Okay. And when you do make posts on Reddit, you can say also, you know, it is quite feasible for students to finish this. Okay. And so you don't have to be alarmed and start early and all. I know, you know, Arjun was you know, lots of people he wrote notes to Arjun saying, start questing early. And I don't know why. Yeah, anyway, I don't know. Okay, maybe there's a lot of help on the Reddit now, forums now, and people can get through. But yeah, always be programming, always be coding, always be ABC, right? Like you know, Alec Baldwin's character says in that movie, you know, Glenn Berry or something like that. You know, what is it? ABC, always be closing. Yeah, that's what he says. A real estate guy. Okay, but you know, always be coding, ABC. That's the programmer's ABCs. Always be coding. All right, and so that's great. Okay, so just find something to do, and if you don't have anything interesting to do, just get me, you know, get in touch with me. Right, we'll find something to do, and you can, you know, I'll give you points for that too, obviously. Okay, so it won't be worth nothing. Right, that's all. That's all I had to say. I didn't mean to take up too much of your time. I know you guys.
I have a couple of questions actually.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
First of all, I put the GitHub in the chat if anyone wants to look at it, but do we only have an opportunity to work on this project, or could we maybe explore a different data structure if we wanted to?
Yeah, sure. If it's interesting enough, yeah, if it's interesting. Yeah, if it's an interesting problem, you can absolutely go for it. In fact, you don't need my approval. You know, why are you asking me? So I just threw this out as an example for you to do, right? It's your idea. You're going to pick it up and you're going to work on it. Okay, I'm here if you need any, you know, tips or pointers, or you know, you want a third pair of eyes to look at it and say, hey, you know, hey, Prof, can you also take a look at it? And I'm happy to do that. Okay, but I don't think anything is beyond you guys. So you can pick up anything and create a report, and you can share it on our Reddit for extra credit. But obviously, you should also share it with the extra, you know, the remaining part of the world. Okay, so you should share it on places like Reddit, you know, on Stack Overflow, GitHub, and so on, and LinkedIn, and yeah, these are places where people actually look to find interesting technical content.
And then so, another question:
go for it.
If
this game you're working on, yeah, you can post interesting things from there on our Reddit too. Yeah, and if it's a conversation that has interesting stuff in it that you can distill out and take into a, you know, Stack Overflow question, or all of this, so many things open up right in front of you, right? So once you're done, you have a lot of time and you have the knowledge. So now you have an open playground essentially. So you just have to pick and choose.
So there's no doc in the questing, right? Because like in the syllabus, it says you should be questing like every single few days, right?
Yeah, I'm going to take it off. Okay. So yeah, Ryan in 2B was also concerned about this, and you know, Divyani was concerned. This is so, and I'm just, it's useless. Okay. So Foothill had this effort called simple syllabus. Okay. So I'm going to simplify the syllabus greatly. Okay. I'm going to get rid of these terms, no bursting, no grinding, because I can take a look at who's questing when. I can take a diff between two successive submissions to see what the difference is. and whether they thought out the change they made and things like that. I can look at all of that in real time, right? Even if I have 100 students, I can do that. So I don't have a problem with that. I'm going to take away all of this, and essentially, the final grade is going to be determined by the report you submit. And obviously, general, but in 2C, you don't have a face-to-face section, right? So 2C entirely from the report, and in the report, you're going to have links to your, thoughts and insights and things like that. And I'll see, how much you've understood the data structure, right? As opposed to hand wavy explanations here and there, right? And that is, and it's just like a math proof or something like that. I'll grade that out of 15 points. The entire 15 points. The entire 15 points of participation will come from that report, but they'll have to have links to contributions you've made. That's all.
Sorry, so we have reports about everything that we understand. Could we
no, just link to just pick the highlight of your contributions on Reddit, create a nice report out of it that you will hope that your hiring manager comes across. Okay. So and put it out on Reddit. And then send me a link saying this is my final report on Reddit, and I'll just click on it, link, and I'll look at all the links, and well, obviously all of the links. I've read every single comment, I think, except on past posts that the threads have gotten too long and I've missed them. But yeah, so I'll probably recognize most of them, and I'll grade you based on that, right? So it'll be on a scale from 0 to 15 based on the quality and the quantity of your contributions in the report. Yeah. So I think it'll be pretty straightforward, no confusion. Forget about grinding and things like that. Just question your heart's content, right? In fact, if you want to maximize your trophies or lollipops, trophies you can maximize after a certain point. I think on certain quests, you can set up a bot. You can set up a bot that keeps on submitting the graph algorithm again and again until you get your maximum trophies, right? Because you may luck out. You may luck out. So in fact, we had a student in 2A who created a set of Python scripts that would do quest submissions in the background while you're working on something. You give it a bunch of C++ files in a zip file, it'll submit it to the questing system, get the results, and send you back. And it'll be reflected in your /Q and all, right? But it'll just do everything because it's just an API, isn't it? I'm just calling it from JavaScript. You can call it from anything. You can call it from Python, Java, anywhere, right? So he set it up. So you can set up a script like that if you want, so you can just say, well, although I don't think it'll help because it's just mindless changes. Because the fun in questing is really in mindful changes, and so you'll miss out on that. That's all. Yeah, go ahead. No grinding and bursting rules. Complete unfortunate accident that I picked those. Why I put that in, I don't know. Maybe I thought I was really disappointed with students who were not really thinking their submissions through, but I could just tell without having to have these rules in place. I could tell. All right. Any other questions? This is great. Even before coming here, I saw every one of you has submitted. Brett and Jaden, Yam, Arjun, and Nathan, all of you, right? Kingwu, and I see these submissions rolling in, and you're all trying hard. That means that whether I like it or not, whether anybody else likes it or not, you're going to succeed. Yeah. Okay. So because success is something that you are creating, and I can see that happening right in front of my eyes. So I'm very happy to see that. Okay. So that's all. So I don't want to take up any more of your time. So if you don't have any questions, I'll, say best of luck. I'll probably see you next week or maybe the week after, certainly once before the quarter ends. Okay. Unless you invite me specifically to a meeting. All right. See you guys later. Bye.
Thank you for your time,
Bye.
Anand.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care.
No, that sounded really interesting. Like comparing the two, like, did he say like the two types of trees, like splay versus AVL?
Yeah, splay versus
That was-
AVL.
It reminded me of this, like, I was just reading this thing yesterday about like ants, like ant colonies, and like how the efficiency and how they find food, how that relates to like CS. So I wonder if like you could use like an approach like that with this problem. Maybe.
So does anyone else have any queries, any questions that they'd like to ask?
One simple question on the sorting homework. For the entry pass, does it tell you whether it's passed?
I think that should be the first mini quest.
Yeah,
I
but-
tried with insertion and selection sort and it didn't work.
Yeah, you have to take a really, really quick sorting
Yeah.
algorithm to
I
pass the entry pass.
If
It's
you
kinda-
look at the
kinda silly.
modules, I think shell sort should work, I think.
Yeah, you can probably take it from directly from the modules.
Yeah.
Do you get trophies for it?
Sorry.
Do you get trophies for it?
Yeah, you get like 2 or something. It's not really a big
It's
deal.
not that much.
I'll have to double check, because I did shell. And I thought it worked once, but then it stopped working. So I'll look at it again, I guess.
Also, a cool thing is if you actually use your own swap algorithm instead of like C++'s
SQL, yeah.
standard swap, it's way faster. So I want
Okay,
to do that.
good to know. Thanks. And that's good for now. I'll work on it. I don't know. Thanks.
From the comments, guys, do we know what the total trophies are for each quest?
No. We just know that it's 250 in total for all of them.
Yeah. I mean, like they're pretty weird up until now. Like I've been looking at my quests and the amount of trophies I've gotten from each. Like it's really, really whack numbers. It's not like it's not like each one is 20 or something. Yeah, there's no really way to tell. Just after you finished all your quests, you just have to go hunting for each of the trophies.
Is there anything else you'd like to ask or say anything, or would you like to disband for the day?
Honestly, I wanted to like maybe ask if anybody has any interesting projects that they're thinking of, or like anything in the class that they're like, oh, that's interesting. Maybe you want to like do a project about that. I don't know. Also, Anand said like the project didn't necessarily have to be like directly with the stuff that we did in this class. So yeah, I don't know. I'm free to project ideas. If you guys have any, feel free to DM me on Reddit or whatever.
Did you have like any ideas at the moment, or is this something you just want to crack with other people, like put your minds together, put ideas together?
Yeah, I'm open to anything. I'm working currently on different projects which aren't directly related to this class. So I want something that's for this class.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. I wish you all the best in your your crafting. I know how it can be.
All right. I guess I'll see you guys next week.
Yeah.
Right.
See you guys.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Take care.
Wish you all
See
the
ya.
best. Happy questing and good luck with your current progresses.
Thanks.
You too.
You all do good work. Keep that in mind.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.